Most traders fear volatility, but the quiet markets, those are the ones that truly break them, because silence exposes what speed hides. When the market stops moving, your thoughts start to. And in that stillness, you meet your real opponent, not the chart, but yourself. In a world obsessed with momentum, the range is rebellion. It teaches patience in a culture that worships action. It teaches conviction when everyone else demands movement. This is not about price, it's about psychology, not about trading the market, but trading your own impulses. Welcome to Mind Over Markets. This is your one-page playbook range fade, a journey into the art of waiting and the discipline of doing less to achieve more. Everyone wants excitement. Every trader craves movement, the rush, the motion. But what happens when the market refuses to move? You sit there watching the candles go nowhere. Price oscillates inside a box up and down like the ocean breathing in shallow water. Hours pass, nothing changes. And that's when the danger begins, because silence is louder than noise and boredom is more destructive than fear. A range market doesn't kill you with volatility. It kills you with waiting. It whispers, do something, anything. And most traders obey. You tell yourself it's just a small position just to stay engaged. But deep down, you know the truth. You're not trading opportunity, you're trading emotion. The breakout never came. The pattern never confirmed. But you clicked anyway, not because the setup was there, but because stillness felt unbearable. That's the hidden cost of impatience. Not the money lost, but the mindset fractured. Each impulsive click trains your brain to need stimulation. And the moment trading becomes entertainment, discipline begins to die. The range is a mirror. It doesn't test your strategy. It tests your ability to do nothing, to sit, to wait, to trust that not acting is sometimes the strongest move. Most traders think the market punishes hesitation, but in truth it punishes need. The need to feel in control. The need to prove you can predict. The need to trade simply because the market exists. And when you fade the range, you step into the hardest psychological space of all the space between patience and doubt. Because fading isn't following momentum. It's standing at the edge of exhaustion where everyone else sees a breakout and you see opportunity. It's watching the crowd chase the fake move while you breathe, wait, and act only when emotion overextends. This is not rebellion. This is restraint. The mind hates it. It wants to belong with the herd. It wants validation through movement. But range fading teaches the opposite, the art of presence when others demand action. Imagine this price pushes to the top of the range. Everyone talks about the breakout. Social feeds light up signals, flash green. Your pulse rises. You can feel the collective excitement, and yet you do nothing because your playbook says wait for exhaustion. Wait for the wick, for the trap, for the crowd to overcommit. You don't chase confirmation, you wait for failure. In that stillness lies mastery, because the best traders aren't faster, they're quieter. They can feel the tension without needing to release it through a trade. The range becomes your meditation chamber. Each candle tests your ability to remain unmoved. Each fake breakout whispers a lesson in patience, and over time your mind adapts. The boredom that once broke you becomes a signal in itself. You start to see the rhythm beneath the silence. That's when trading transforms. You stop reacting, you start observing, you understand that your edge isn't prediction, it's emotional equilibrium. And in that realization, the chart shifts meaning. Every top of the box is not temptation, it's a question. Every bottom is not despair, it's a test. Can you fade not just the range, but your own impulses? That's where the one-page playbook begins. Not in the indicators, not in the structure, but in a single decision to trade from awareness, not anxiety. Because in a world obsessed with constant motion, patience becomes a superpower. And those who can master the stillness of a range can master anything the market throws next. The mind craves complexity. It wants more data, more signals, more movement. But the truth is simple. The best traders live by one page. The one-page playbook is not about prediction. It's about clarity. It's the anchor when your thoughts begin to drift, when the noise of boredom tempts you to move before the market does. It begins with 4 lines, simple, precise, powerful. First, define the box. A range isn't chaos, it's structure pretending to be randomness. Mark your boundaries. Draw the top and the bottom, then forget everything in between. Because that middle zone isn't a playground, it's a trap. It's where traders confuse activity for progress, where emotion replaces logic, where boredom becomes expensive. When you define the box, you define your battleground, and clarity kills chaos. Second, wait for extremes. Every range tells the same story. The crowd grows impatient. They buy near the highs, they sell near the lows. They chase the noise inside the box. But you wait. Because patience is positioning. And waiting at the edges is how you collect the emotions of the crowd, not join them. Every time price touches an extreme, remember this. The market is showing you where emotion peaks. Your job is to fade emotion, not follow it. Third confirmation trigger. Fading isn't guessing. It's not heroism or rebellion. It's evidence-based patience. You wait for exhaustion, a rejection wick, a failed breakout, a volume climax. You don't act because it looks good. You act because it feels uncomfortable, because real opportunity rarely feels safe. And in that discomfort lies the edge. The discomfort is proof that you're not aligned with the crowd, you're aligned with your discipline. Fourth mindset reminder. At the bottom of your playbook, write one line, not a quote, not a mantra, a truth you need to remember when the chart tries to hypnotize you. Something like patience is a position, or I don't need movement to make progress. Read it every time you want to act too soon. Let it interrupt your impulses. Because your worst trades are never caused by the chart, they're caused by forgetting who you are when it moves. This one page isn't just strategy. It's self-awareness disguised as structure. It's not about finding the next setup. It's about training the next mindset. Because the hardest part of range trading isn't the breakout. It's the silence before it. It's sitting through the hours where nothing happens while your brain screams that something must. That silence exposes every weakness, the need for control, the addiction to excitement, the belief that doing more equals earning more. But trading doesn't reward effort. It rewards equilibrium. When you stare at a chart long enough, it starts to stare back. You see your reflection in every candle, your fear, your impatience, your hope. That's the real education, not price action, but self-awareness in action. The one-page playbook teaches you to shrink your world, to stop chasing every opportunity and start mastering one, to stop reacting to boredom and start embracing it as a signal that you're on track. Because boredom means discipline is working. Every moment of stillness sharpens your edge. Every time you don't click, you're telling the market, I trade clarity, not compulsion. And the market always respects clarity. That's just so when price pushes to the edge of your box, don't rush. Wait for your signal. Wait for your breath too slow. Wait until you can feel the difference between intuition and impulse. Then and only then act. That's the essence of mastery, the ability to feel emotion fully yet move independently of it. Trading is not about eliminating emotion, it's about integrating it. Fear shows you where you care. Boredom shows you where you lack trust. Greed shows you where you seek validation. When you fade the range, you're not fading price. You're fading illusion. The illusion that movement equals meaning. The illusion that you need to always act. The illusion that silence is empty, when in truth, silence is where the market resets its energy. If you can learn to wait through that silence, you will start to see what others miss. You'll feel the subtle shift of sentiment at the edges, the collective impatience before a reversal, the rhythm that hides between extremes. Because every range is a conversation between chaos and calm, and your job is not to predict the next sentence, it's to listen until the noise makes sense. This is what the One-Page Playbook protects you from, not loss, but distraction, not risk, but reaction. The box becomes your boundary. The extremes become your patience. The trigger becomes your proof. And the mindset line at the bottom that becomes your anchor. When you follow it long enough, you stop chasing the market. The market starts coming to you. You stop searching for setups. You start recognizing energy, because price is just a reflection of emotion in motion, and emotion, when observed, loses its control. That's the paradox every master trader discovers. Freedom begins the moment you limit yourself to discipline. And boredom, once your greatest enemy, becomes your greatest ally. The One-Page Playbook doesn't make trading easier. It makes you steadier. And that's what the market rewards, not brilliance, not speed, but steadiness. Because in the stillness of a range, you don't just learn about the market, you learn about yourself. There's a truth every trader learns often too late, that markets don't test your strategy. They test your psychology. And nowhere is that more visible than in the range, because a range is not silence. It's tension waiting to be felt. It's a psychological mirror that shows you how you respond to stillness. The first emotion that appears is curiosity. You look at the chart and wonder, is this the calm before the storm? You watch, analyze, imagine. It feels controlled. But under the surface, curiosity is the first spark of attachment the moment you begin to want something from the market. Then comes frustration. Price stays stuck. You've drawn your levels, you've waited, and nothing changes. You start to question your patience, your method, your identity as a trader, because boredom is not just about the market being quiet, it's about your mind being loud. It screams you're missing out, and that's how emotion disguises itself as logic. Next is impulse. You want to trade not because the setup appeared, but because your thoughts became unbearable. You enter early. The chart moves a little, and for a moment you feel relief, but the relief doesn't last. The trade fails. The range continues. And what hurts most is not the loss, but the realization that once again you acted not from your system, but from your emotion. Finally comes regret. You tell yourself you'll wait next time, you'll be stronger. But deep down your trust is broken not in the market, but in yourself. And without self-trust, no system can survive. That's the emotional cycle of a range. Curiosity, frustration, impulse, regret. A loop that continues until awareness interrupts it. And awareness begins with presence, not analyzing, not anticipating, just observing. So here's what you do. When you feel the urge to act, pause. Take one slow breath in and ask yourself 3 questions. Am I calm? Am I clear? Am I certain of my process? If the answer to any of these is no, you are not trading your edge. You are trading your ego. The best traders don't suppress emotion. They surf it. They feel the boredom, the fear, the craving for action, but they don't identify with it. They let it move through them like a wave that passes. That's emotional mastery, not detachment awareness, not control understanding. Every moment of restraint builds psychological equity. And over time, that equity compounds into clarity. Trading is not a race. It's a conversation between your logic and your instincts. When the market is quiet, your instincts shout. When the market moves, your logic hides. Your job is to keep them both in balance. This is why range trading feels spiritual to those who master it, because it forces you to face the truth of your own mind, to confront your impatience, to redefine what progress means. Progress is not always movement. Sometimes it's the strength to sit in stillness and watch without reacting, to wait for the edges, to let others break themselves against the walls of impatience while you prepare in silence. And when the time finally comes, when price touches the edge, when the crowd loses patience, when the breakout fails and reverses, you move calmly, decisively, without doubt. Because your mind has already been here. You rehearsed this moment in stillness. You earned it through boredom. And now discipline turns into execution. That's the paradox of mastery. Your most powerful actions come from your most patient moments. Your biggest profits are born from your quietest hours. So remember your one-page playbook. It's not just a plan. It's a mirror, structure, zone, trigger, mindset. These are not trading rules. They are reflections of mental order. The structure represents clarity. The zone represents boundaries. The trigger represents timing. The mindset represents truth. Together, they create something few traders ever find peace inside uncertainty. Because once you can sit inside that uncertainty and not be moved by it, you become untouchable. Not invincible, but unshakable. That's the real edge, not knowing where price will go, but knowing that whatever it does, you will remain the same. And when that happens, you no longer chase trades, you attract them. The market moves into your patience. You stop fighting the noise because you've become the silence that contains it. Trading isn't about predicting movement. It's about predicting yourself. Knowing what thoughts will rise when price stalls. Knowing what emotion will appear when you lose or win. And meeting it with awareness instead of reaction. That's when the range no longer feels like a prison. It feels like practice. Each sideways candle becomes a breath of training. Each failed breakout becomes a lesson in humility. And every long pause becomes a moment to strengthen your center. Because trading is not just the pursuit of profit, it's the pursuit of poise. The ability to remain steady in a world that thrives on chaos. So as you close your charts today, remember this. The market rewards one thing above all: patience. Not the passive kind that waits, but the active kind that watches, learns, and trusts. This is your playbook, not just for trading ranges, but for living with balance. Because the range is life itself, constant noise, brief clarity, and long stretches of stillness that test your belief in progress. And if you can find peace there, you've already won. The range is where most traders lose themselves, not in losses, but in impatience. They confuse movement with meaning and action with progress. But the wise ones know boredom is not emptiness, it's data. It's the proof that your system is stronger than your emotions. Every candle inside the box is a lesson in presence. Every moment of silence is a test of self-trust. And every time you wait, you build a kind of strength that no strategy can teach. So when the chart moves again, you'll move differently. Not faster, not more often, but with purpose. Because your decisions will no longer come from the need to act. They'll come from the patience to understand. This is the essence of trading psychology. This is the power of awareness. This is the real edge. Mind over markets. Trade consciously. Wait with conviction. And let the silence become your greatest signal.